divorced at 23 and a single mum, bankrupt at 27 with over $120,000 in debt. Now she's the village's lifeline. Meet Danielle Thompson, born in 1987, who lives in a small rural town in Georgia. At 37, she's the CEO of a tea company that provides jobs for over 90 local residents. But that's not all. Danielle is also a social media star on TikTok, a platform similar to TikTok, with more than 24 million followers and over 330 million likes. She regularly posts vlogs showing her everyday work, planting rice, growing vegetables, plowing the fields, fixing up her home, and more. That's why folks online lovingly call her the barefoot CEO feeding the whole village. Danielle Thompson has been invited to speak on various national TV shows and media platforms about entrepreneurship and business. She's become a role model for many after sharing her journey, from going through a divorce, being betrayed by friends, facing bankruptcy, to eventually becoming a successful businesswoman. Never give up on yourself. Life will always throw challenges your way. That's just how it works. So get back up, create your own path, grab every opportunity, and keep going. Live the good days. This powerful message from Danielle struck a chord with thousands. Divorced at 23 and a single mom. Bankrupt at 27 with over $120,000 in debt. According to a report by 163 to News, Danielle was raised by her grandmother while her parents worked far from home. At 19, she worked as a carpenter near her village and spent her free time helping her grandmother on the mountains, cutting grass and tending pigs. At 21, she made the bold decision to move to the city and chase a better future. That's where she met a co-worker who would later become her husband. But the whirlwind romance turned rocky fast. Just 1 year into the marriage, constant conflicts led to divorce. At that point, Danielle was already pregnant, with nowhere else to go. She returned to her hometown and chose to raise her child alone at just 23. When her daughter was just a few months old, Danielle juggled multiple jobs, working in a factory, waiting tables, running a small roadside stall. She barely had time to breathe, yet the income was never enough to support both of them. Worried about her daughter's future, education, a stable home, Danielle took a leap of faith and started her own business at 25. She pulled all her savings, borrowed from friends, family, and banks, to open a small ceramics shop. At first, things went surprisingly well. Within a year, she opened a second branch, bought a house, even got a car. But by the time she turned 27, it all came crashing down. Faced with an economic downturn and betrayed by people she trusted, Danielle lost everything. She had to sell her company, her car, and her home, yet was still left with over $120,000 in debt. Her very first video, a short clip of her riding a bus back to her village, back to square one. The shock left Danielle Thompson physically and emotionally drained. She became seriously ill. While lying in a hospital bed, reflecting on everything she had been through, she made a life-changing decision to return to her hometown and start over again, back to zero, back to the land. At 34, a president with mud on her boots. So in 2018, Danielle and her daughter boarded a bus home with nothing but a few bags and each other. It was then that she used social media for the very first time. She posted a simple photo of herself on TikTok, China's version of TikTok. At first, Danielle couldn't even step outside without feeling judged. People whispered, stared, asked questions. But within a week, she shook it off and got back to work. Life is full of ups and downs. Flowers and thorns grow side by side. Whether you win or lose, it's all part of living. Just keep going, Danielle reminded herself. Her daughter became her biggest motivation to rise again. Danielle started filming vlogs about her daily life in the countryside, raising her daughter, working the land, under a simple name, Nostalgia. It was just her way of coping with negative emotions. She never imagined her life would take another turn from there. She never spoke a word in her vlogs. Instead, she let her actions tell the story. Cooking, fishing, harvesting bamboo shoots, sewing, decorating her little home, working in the fields. Her calm, authentic lifestyle struck a chord with viewers. One night, she casually uploaded a short video of herself hand-packing tea leaves. By the next morning, Her followers had skyrocketed from 8,000 to 80,000. Viewers wanted more. They asked for longer vlogs and deeper looks into her rural life, especially about the region's agricultural treasures like mushrooms, tea, and bamboo. Danielle quickly became known as the woman who could do it all, from farming and cooking to driving trucks and operating tractors. There was nothing she couldn't handle. She didn't glamorize rural life. She lived it and showed it as it truly was, and people loved it. By 2020, her follower count exploded past 10 million. Danielle laughed and said humbly, "I didn't mean to become famous. I was just documenting my life, no acting, no filters, just real." As her fame grew, companies began reaching out with offers, brand deals, product promotions, collaborations, but she turned them all down. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm missing out on making quick money, but that kind of money often comes with compromises. You might have to sell things you don't believe in. And what if those products let people down? I couldn't live with that. I'd rather be poor than break the trust of the people who believe in me." Danielle Thompson chose the path of entrepreneurship. She launched a small e-commerce business from her rural hometown, selling locally made products and helping neighbors expand their own businesses. But Danielle was selective. Some goods were too difficult to ship. Others lacked food safety certification. After careful thought, she made a decision. She would focus solely on tea. In 2021, at age 34, she founded Danksin Kekyan Tea Commerce Limited, employing over 90 local residents. Her handcrafted tea blends quickly sold out, gaining a reputation for quality and honesty. The company became a trusted brand, not just for its products but for its values. Despite being offered hundreds of thousands of dollars to promote other tea brands via short videos on her platform, Danielle refused. "I don't know their products well enough to recommend them. I can't promote blindly." She deeply valued the trust of her followers, the very people who had helped lift her out of the darkest days. I believe the world is full of smart and talented people, but staying honest, that's the hard part. Truth is the only thing that lasts. With her growing influence, Danielle became a rural icon, the image of what a modern, grounded female leader could be. Yet nothing about her lifestyle changed. She still filmed vlogs of her daily routines, pulling weeds in the rice fields, chopping firewood, operating the tractor, even building homes by hand. And she wasn't done. Looking ahead, Danielle hopes to inspire more young people to return to their roots, to build sustainable futures in the very villages they once left behind. "I want to be a voice for rural entrepreneurship," she says, "and help bring life back into our small towns, one honest day of work at a time." Why Danielle Thompson's story is more than just a comeback. It's a life lesson for all of us. Hey friends, let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever felt like your life hit rock bottom? Like, no matter how hard you try, everything keeps falling apart? If you've ever been there or you're going through it now, then you need to hear this story. Today I want to tell you about Danielle Thompson, a woman who went from being a divorced single mom with $400,000 in debt to becoming the CEO of a thriving tea company that now supports her entire village. Yeah, you heard that right. She literally helps feed an entire village. So what's her secret? How did she do it? Let's break it down. And stick with me, because by the end of this, I promise you'll feel a little more hopeful about whatever you're facing right now. 1. Resilience is a superpower. Danielle got divorced at 23. She filed for bankruptcy at 27. She was deep in debt, physically and emotionally exhausted, and ended up in the hospital. Most people would have given up right there, but not her. Instead of letting her pain define her, she chose to start over. Literally hopped on a bus with her little girl and went back to her rural hometown with absolutely nothing. Just 2 hands and a whole lot of grit. Let me ask you this. What would you do if you had to start over from zero? 2. Humility and honesty. Overhype now. Here's where things get interesting. Danielle started sharing videos on Douyin, China's TikTok, but she wasn't showing off wealth or chasing trends. She was just filming her real simple life, planting rice, cooking with her daughter, fixing her old farmhouse. No makeup, no fancy filters, and people loved it. In fact, one simple video of her hand-packing tea leaves blew up overnight, going from 8,000 followers to 80,000 in just 24 hours. Why? Because people are hungry for authenticity, and Danielle gave them that. No scripts, no selling out. Just real life. 3. Know your roots, play to your strengths. Instead of chasing flashy business ideas, Danielle focused on what her village had to offer: high-quality tea. She did her homework. Some products weren't safe, some weren't easy to ship. But tea, that she understood, so she built a brand around it. By age 34, she had started her own e-commerce company, employed over 90 locals, and created a sustainable, transparent supply chain. Her tea kept selling out. Now that's what I call smart entrepreneurship, rooted in tradition, powered by technology, and built with heart. 4. She could have sold out, but she didn't. Here's the part that really made me respect her. When big companies offered her crazy amounts of money to promote their tea brands, she turned them down. You know why? Because she said, "If I don't truly understand something, I won't promote it. I'd rather lose money than lose the trust of the people who believe in me." Let that sink in. How many people do you know who would choose integrity over fast cash? Danielle believed that being truthful lasts longer than being trendy. And guess what? She was right. So what can we learn from Danielle? Here's the truth, friends. Failure doesn't mean the end. It might just be the beginning. You don't need to be perfect, just be real. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just start where you are. Trust is worth more than money. And no matter how many times you fall, you can rise again. Danielle Thompson didn't have a magic formula. What she had was heart, hustle, and honesty. Your turn, so I'll leave you with this. What's one thing in your life right now that you've been scared to start over? And what would happen if, just like Danielle, you dared to try anyway? Thanks for listening. And if Danielle's story inspired you, share it with someone who needs a little hope today. You never know. Maybe this is your comeback year. And that's the story of a single mom who turned rock bottom into a foundation for success. From heartbreak to bankruptcy, to becoming a leader who uplifts an entire village. Her journey reminds us that no matter how tough life gets, as long as you don't give up on yourself, there's always a way forward. So it's what part of her story inspired you the most? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And hey, if you're going through a rough patch, maybe this is your sign to keep going. Your comeback might be closer than you think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this. See you in the next one.